The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 18th day of August, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Maya Palacio. And Maya, what a show we have today.
Big show we have today.
Yeah, how are you feeling today? It's Friday. Got a couple days off from waking up early?
I guess so. Maybe a couple of days off from waking up a bit early, but it's a good day. Loving today. Friday's always a nice day to have.
Yeah. I think it's Cher's favorite day of the week. So
something like that.
Yeah, but we're good. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome the Opposition Leader Jarion Richardson onto the show. So should be a good one. I think this is his first appearance. Actually, it's the first appearance by an Opposition Leader on the Daily Hour, and we're talking 3 years. No, I'm not. That's not the truth. Craig Cannonier has been on as Opposition Leader. So the Daily Play is a things you should know. Things you should know, Maya.
Okay.
You think feeling good?
Well, if it's something I should know it, right?
Yeah, and I guarantee you're gonna get it in 0.2 seconds. But anyway, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on, and just help us grow beyond the mic to continue to do our part to improve our community. That said, audience, real quickly, and happy Friday to you, Tanya Cheeseman. She says, morning, Jamal and Maya, happy Friday. Audience, real quickly, before we get into the news break, I just watched the news for one of the first times in a couple of weeks, and I saw that there was a lot going on in Hawaii, like deaths and fire and so on. And I almost felt like, wow, I really haven't been tuned in, despite me scrolling social media. And one of the articles I read, it was a long article on BBC yesterday. I read this article about Maui residents and their disdain for tourists.
Yeah.
And I meant to send it to you, but I was like, no, I must have bothered you enough yesterday with other stuff. I'm very careful because I know the day is going to come. Will you leave me alone, Jamal? But anyway, there was this article and it just made me think. And tell me if I'm being insensitive, but I was like, wow. What a good problem to have, where you can literally want tourists not to come. Whereas Bermuda, we're the total opposite. Like, we don't have an over-tourism problem. And then there was the more insensitive part where a tour boat went and gave a tour in the midst of all this. And people were like, how could you give a tour and be doing tourism? They asked tourists not to come right now while they try to find their relatives and do all this stuff. So I guess it was a real eye-opener to me, Maya, and I just said, wow.
I definitely would like to read that entire article, but from what I've seen, and I'll be quite honest, because I've been seeing a lot of stuff from TikTok. That's my generation, so I go on, that's what I see, most of the stuff there. Or if I find there, then I go on and read an article. But from what I've heard from stories on BBC, on TikTok, like listening and talking to the people out there, it's heartbreaking to see it. I know it's different, like compared to Bermuda. I know you're saying like about, to have that problem of being overly too many tourists. I don't think that's necessarily the case of them feeling like there's just too many tourists. It's the insensitivity of the tourists who are there and what they're doing. Like they've had family members, relatives who are dying out there in those waters. And then you go ahead and be on the beach. You see that nobody else is out there. No people native to the islands are out there. And yet they decide to situate themselves there and complain that, oh, all this is happening on my vacation. People are dying.
It was crazy, right? And I'm reading it and I'm like, they already had a problem with tourists because of the economy. Like if you're not, as the article said, if you're not in hospitality or construction, like you're literally in a bad space. But then they asked people not to come. People still came. They asked people to leave. People haven't left. It's just the arrogance. And so I guess the question was, I read something years ago where people are saying, majority of tourists actually travel with this arrogance. Like, you should be lucky I'm here. Do you feel you have a responsibility as a tourist to respect the space in which you're visiting? But let's get to the news break. Anyone wants to comment on that? That's a longer conversation, but it just caught me because there's such an arrogance, like, oh, I'm going on a cruise, you gotta serve me. I'm coming into your country, I'm doing you a favor. You better do this for me. Oh, my feet need to be washed. I'm gonna share the article on social media, folks, so you know what I'm referencing. But it was just, and Maya is interesting because she was on TikTok. I was actually on LinkedIn. So that's where I found the article. See, generations, right? Yeah, you want to do the news break now and then?
Yeah, definitely. Early news break.
All right, early news break, and we'll bring in the opposition leader, Jarian Richardson, for an extended conversation on his new position.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Starting out the news this morning with some unfortunate news, but around 3:35 p.m. on Thursday, the 17th of August, police and other first responders were dispatched to a report of a two-vehicle collision on North Shore Road, Hamilton Parish, near the junction with Abbott's Cliff Drive. Information suggests that eastbound traffic had come to a halt to allow a man driving a motor car to exit Francis Patton School when a male rider on a motorcycle overtook the line of a halted traffic and collided with the oncoming motor car. The motorcyclist has been transported to the King Edward Memorial Hospital for treatment of what is described as a very serious leg injury. No other injuries were reported. Witnesses to the collision are being asked to contact PC 2576 Bruce Sandman on 211, or you can also contact the other police contact numbers or talk to your officer that you trust. Motorists should expect delays, and they did for more than 90 minutes while the accident was being dissolved.
So one person was being courteous to let someone out, and the other person was in a hurry to get somewhere or not, and a collision happened. Again, avoidable, and I just hope that this person recovers 100% and use that lesson to teach others and explain to others how it went wrong.
Yep, exactly that. Meanwhile, in other news, Bermuda hospital boards advised the public of a temporary closure scheduled for Saturday, the 19th of August. This will be tomorrow at the hospital campus. The closure will affect vehicular traffic from approximately 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The crane will be positioned at the hospital through the road between the ambulance bay and the general wing lobby from 8 a.m. Necessary closures for the hospital. During this period, emergency vehicles and people attending the emergency department should use the Point Finger Road ambulance will enter and exit on Point Finger Road as well. So the visitors in the parking lot will still be accessible for them from both Point Finger Road, Acute Care Wing, and from Barry Hill Road, the General Wing, and Agape House. So if you need to make your way there, just know about those lane closures.
Understand there may be delays, folks.
Yes. And more like happy news for everyone here. The Ministry of Education is pleased to announce that 62 Bermudian students have been awarded scholarships and awards totaling just over $1.5 million at the 2023 Bermuda Government Scholarship and Awards reception held on August 10th. Each year, the Ministry of Education provides scholarships awards to Bermudian students to pursue higher education. The Ministry of Education, the Honorable Diallo Bain, said, quote, education is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. And the Ministry of Education is not just a supporter of academic endeavors, but a believer in the dreams of each and every student. He closes out by saying, although we are experiencing challenging economic times, our commitment to our students and their further education is unwavering. He says, we continue to make significant investments, which is reflective of our scholarship and awards budget that has increased consistently to the now $1.5 million we see today. Once again, to our 2023 recipient, and congratulations, and may your journey ahead be as remarkable as the journey that has brought you to this moment. And that's the image there of the recipients that you see.
I just want to say, as a recipient, to complete my final year of graduate school, I will always be grateful for that. I don't think I ever received a scholarship from the private sector. I always only received from the National Training Board and that government scholarship. Outside of that, it was really my mother and my family, you know. So seeing people receive those scholarships and grants makes me smile and happy. And I continue to say, one day we'll be able to provide scholarships for our own people. Look out, there may be a Media Maya BCG for people who want to get into this space, but we have to find a way. I'm a firm believer, and I say this all the time, government should not be funding a lot of the sports, scholarships and grants. I just don't believe it. I believe that should be the responsibility of the private sector to really take care of its community, especially those who are unable to reach those heights financially.
Mm-hmm. Moreover, in the news, earlier this week, the Minister of Youth, Culture and Sport, Senator own Darrell JP, welcomed Bermudian triathlete Tyler Smith to the ministry office to hear about the young Bermudian sports aspirations. The public will recall that last month, Mr. Smith, along with several other talented local athletes, received the Minister's Elite Athlete Scholarship Award. And this week, the minister wanted an opportunity to chat with Tyler to learn more about his progress. Tyler shared that over the last 5 years, he's been consistently competing on the global stage and achieving success. He also detailed his sports journey, noting that he has worked diligently at developing his skills via the junior, under 23, and senior ranks. In fact, in the first 6 months of the year, he's managed to improve his world ranking outside of the top 300 to a personal best of 125. His 2023 results have been impressive, noting that he's participated in key events, including the Continental Cup, World Cup, and World Triathlon Championship Series. Tyler's current 2023 highlights are a couple being the 2023 CAC Triathlon Champions, winning that second silver medal, and the 2023 America's Triathlon Cup at St. Peter's, where he won 6th, a 2023 Africa Triathlon Cup, where he won 5th, 2023 Africa Triathlon Cup in the Nelson Mandela Bay, 5th place again, and lastly, the Africa's Triathlon Cup, Mazensport, 4th place. So he's definitely been doing a lot of competing this year in 2023. You could keep up with the athlete on his Instagram as well. I believe it's Tyler Smith 441. Yeah, he's out there.
I lost my breath just all of the triathlons. Like I folks, I jog. I don't swim. I don't ride. I jog, and I don't have enough wind just to do that. No, that's an athlete right there. Triathletes, Dan Flora, Mr. Tyler Butterfield, you all doing the dang.
Yeah, he's making his way around the world doing what he loves, and it's really awesome to see. Definitely keep up with him. Okay. Lastly, on my news break this morning, we have that our Bermuda Pride events are coming up quite soon. So here's a save the dates for the Pride 2023 homecoming. You have all these activities that you could do here on the side. If you want to take a screenshot and look over it, the first thing coming up will be Wednesday, August 23rd, which is the Harbor Nights Takeover. And then the next day following, you have Open Mic Night, the Pride Prom, then the Pride and Party, and then the Drag Bunch as well. So things that you can go to support if you wish to.
All righty. Sounds like a party in the city.
Yes, it does.
How's the weather looking?
Weather's looking like abundant sunshine. Lots of sun today, and we got a high of 87 degrees.
Okay. You haven't said any rain lately, huh?
No, it's just been a little bit cloudy. Like sometimes like 1 or 2 rains, I feel like I said earlier this week, but today has been the first day with just abundant sunshine.
Okay. All right. But we've got a days of the year, Maya. Today is Never Give Up Day. I like this one, Never Give Up Day. So, folks, Never Give Up Day is all about cultivating a mindset of determination which helps us to get through all of the difficult challenges that life throws our way. It is about motivating and inspiring ourselves and others, as well as remembering people that have never given up. We should use this day to not only applaud people for reaching their goals, but also to support those who are still trying to achieve their goals and have not quite got there yet. So mastering the art of never giving up. This day is all about never giving up. We realize that it's a lot easier said than done. So we have put together a few tips, they say. So here's one of the things. Start pausing, not quitting. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Motivate yourself. Something I have to do daily. Seriously. This is the part that I like. And you'll see it in the people simply on the show. Surround yourself with people who are resilient. Remember I shared a story about Maya, like just asking her where her desire comes from? Surround yourself with people who have a desire to push forward. Choose to be positive. See, I'm working on this. Having sports teams that piss me off doesn't help. St. George's Cup match, it don't help. But choose to be positive. It's hard when you choose the wrong sports teams. And this one I love the most, Maya. Be honest with yourself.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah, we're not honest with ourselves. And I think that right there, we don't manage our own expectations. Well, so anyway, it is, again, I love this day. Never give up day, folks. So, hey, keep going, keep pushing. And I'm telling you, it'll come. Just want to honor Karen Simmons. It's her 9-month anniversary as a TDH member via YouTube. Folks, you too can join and become a member of the Daily Hour on our YouTube channel. Just hit one of the 3 options. She is also, we haven't seen her in a while. She says, good morning from Nassau, Bahamas, TDH. Happy Friday. Good morning. We've missed you, but thanks for hanging out. And after this break, we're going to come back and get the conversation going with the interim leader of the OBA, Opposition Leader Jarion Richardson. Should be a good conversation. Folks, if you have any questions, comments, get them in now. We'll get through as many as possible. All right? Stick with us. We'll be right back after this.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. She's Maya Palacio. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We have, for the first time, the interim leader of the One Bermuda Alliance and current opposition leader, Jarian Richardson. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Calm down.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I think I'm okay. I mean, it's still early. We haven't gotten any.
Well, we haven't got that 87 degrees yet. So,
it's according to Maya, it's coming, but these news people, man.
I mean, according to the weather.pm, it's coming.
Sorry.
When I go for my run in the morning, It's beautiful. It's like, if you're really lucky, you get a little bit of mist in the sort of valleys and in places like that. And then about like halfway through the day, when I walk out of my office to do something, I'm like, what happened?
It's that time. It's declining.
That time of year.
Yeah. But first of all, thank you for coming on, joining us and having this conversation. And I just want to jump straight into it. Those who haven't been living under a rock know a bit about your background. If they don't, you can also always visit the oba.bm for more information on not just the leader of the opposition, Jarian Richardson, but also his colleagues and upcoming candidates. But first question is simply, why did you want to lead the One Bermuda Alliance? Like, why did you want to be the party leader?
To be fair, I didn't start my political career as wanting to be leader in any real fashion. I started simply to serve. I was over a number of conversations. Some of my colleagues had really said, look, you're not done yet in service to Bermuda, and you see the problems. Are you going to do something about them? And that's kind of like, if you want to get me to do something, point out a problem and ask me, and then challenge me to fix it. So it sort of started there. And then as I got further and further along the political journey and sort of deeper and deeper into the affairs of the party, that's when I said, the best place to make change from is going to be in front. And so that's when I decided to step forward, first as deputy leader, and then obviously Cole's retirement just opened up the opportunity to move forward again.
All right. And that said, mentioning the Honorable Cole Simons, how do you differ from previous OBA leaders, and what do you bring as a leader of the opposition that your predecessors didn't?
What do I bring that's different from my predecessors? I'm quite happy to allow historians and the public to ultimately be the judge of that. But with that being said, what I can say is my intent to bring forward, and insofar as it differs, I'm not sure, because I think one of the problems is that everybody comes at that job, or at any job really, with their best effort on any given day. And so some days people they'll listen more. Other days, some people just wake up on the wrong side of bed, and maybe today's not the day. But to answer the question, sorry, I would say I'm methodical. I measure twice, cut once. I don't panic easily, and that again comes from my background. Panic never fixed anything. I don't like busyness for busyness' sake. I like clear intentions and actions toward outcomes. Those intentions. I don't like distractions. But also I'm not sure if it's different, but I got to be in people's houses as a young adult, a lot of different houses in the community. And I got to see families typically in distress, right? Nobody calls a police officer because it's a good day. It really opened my heart to the things that happen in Bermuda and the things that we need to do something about. If that's the way to say it, it's I just got I was stunned at some of the things I saw. And to be fair, anyone who joins those kinds of jobs would be, like a paramedic, they'd be stunned by the things they see. Firemen equally, teachers, and it just sort of opened my mind. And I thought, the world's a harsh place. Mm-hmm. You don't need to make it harsher in politics, and you should do something about it. You should work towards making that better. So that's what I intend to bring.
I think one of the things that you also bring is since Michael Dunkley, the OBA hasn't had a leader that actually engages a younger demographic. Michael Dunkley was very good at using social media to engage. I think you've made attempts at actually bridging that gap. So I don't think you should cut yourself short there in trying to get into those spaces and going where people are and really trying to reach beyond the traditional voter has been. Moving along.
I did try, just on that point. So anytime I do something new, I try to find a book about it and I try to read about what it is that I'm getting into. And I did that when I joined intelligence division in the police service. I just got a whole bunch of books and I just read all these books. But when I joined politics, it was the same thing for social media, because social media is a very busy environment. And like I said, I'm not a busy kind of person. I'm a little bit more calm. So I had to go get a book and go, okay, Facebook profile, okay, Twitter profile, and I'm not, I'm trying, is what I would say. I'm certainly trying to be better at it. But I acknowledge that a lot of these conversations and information transfer is taking place in those environments.
I think, Maya, you should start a social media training for politicians.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't get me started. But actually, I do want to touch on that, because you say that you are like trying with the social media to reach a younger generation. I suppose, can you give me examples of how? Because according to your Instagram, like, you haven't posted it since 2020. So how are you?
Yeah. So the Instagram, that's definitely the one where I don't know. You see, so the Facebook, I use Facebook, and I keep that one going. Although, to be fair, in the last week since I became opposition leader, I haven't posted. I keep meaning to put something up there. So I'll put like videos of when I'm canvassing, or if something comes to mind, or my colleagues are out canvassing, I post stuff there. Or if I want to make a comment about a story, then I'll put that there. Twitter is an area where my colleagues, Dwayne Robinson and Sophia Tessitaro, are really my guide ons. They go, hey, don't forget to do this. Something's being discussed. Go there. Doug Caputo is really good at that. And those are the two that I've worked at to figure out how to get it. Because to be fair, I pull up Twitter, or whatever it calls itself now, X, I guess, and I just can't make sense of the fields. So a lot of times I'm thinking I'm posting something, and I have to try, and then so I'm getting better at that. But Facebook is definitely the one where I started, and I'm very mindful. By the way, my 13-year-old daughter told me just how old Facebook is and redundant. So I went, great, the one I started on.
Yeah.
You're looking at probably like age 35 up, and that's being generous for Facebook. I would probably call it more 45, to be honest. But some people still tap in there. But yeah, and if you
but my wife has made it quite clear that I need to do get on Instagram in a meaningful way. And there's a feature where I can click and put stuff between them. So again, this is all just me sitting down and just opening a book and going, how the heck do I do this?
I'm sure your 13-year-old knows a lot and can help you.
Yeah, probably.
I think that right now you're in a space where hopefully you can have the younger people in the party actually just volunteering to help you do it. I think you did mention them just now, but it's all about going where the voters are that you need to engage. But I want to switch gears real quickly. When I think of the OBA, like many, we do think of the UBP. There was a time when the OBA, when they became government, had an actual cabinet that was filled with all former UBPers, right? There are people who respond to this and say, well, the PLP has two former UBP leaders and 3 UBP people in there. However, when we say that, we're dismissing ideology. When I think of the OBA, like many others, they do think of white interest over equity, right? Yeah. How do you change the minds of people who still feel that way?
Well, every mind can only change on its own, right? So I think we have to be a little honest about that. So what we can do, though, is put forward our position and our story and our true story. Because what we have to be mindful about is that there's also a very convenient political narrative that allows the connection between the OBA and the UBP. And that connection favors one political side versus the other in certain communities. So it's certainly been expounded upon and then sort of reinforced over time. But the thing I would definitely say is how do we convince people that we are not the UBP? It's a bit hard to prove a negative, but what I would start with is you can look at our slate of candidates at any given day. In fact, our leadership team. And yes, there was a huge portion, and this goes back to the founding of the One Bermuda Alliance. And it took me a little while to really delve into that space, because the UBP didn't die with a bang; it died with a whimper. So, and of course, it died with a whimper whilst the OBA was still proceeding forwards. There was, in fact, a UBP, and there were members of UBP, and there were, it didn't just sort of, UBP didn't sort of merge into the OBA, and the OBA picked up where it left off. That would be an oversimplification of what happened. So there is a clear distinction between the two. I take the point that a lot of UBP members joined the One Bermuda Alliance. In fact, the Bermuda Democratic Alliance, and the UBP members then created the One Bermuda Alliance. So there is some lineage, but I think the connection is often reinforced for the purposes of political narrative more than it is a case of historical accuracy.
Okay. Jump into my question here. If an election was called today, how prepared is the OBA?
Very, very well. Very, very prepared. It's one of those funny questions when someone says, "Are you prepared for?" Because someone asked me, "Are you prepared for to become opposition leader?" And I think, well, you're only ever as prepared as you try. I can remember transferring units, and they, "Are you prepared?" And then you get there, and then within 2 weeks you learn just how much you didn't know. So I can say that we are prepared for an election, but that's something that we're focused on all the time now. And the reason isn't just because of electoral performance, or the reason is because the best way the best way to know what a voter thinks of you is an election, right? So we just have to constantly be attuned to that opportunity to listen, because the OBA's wider objective isn't just to be a government. I mean, and I speak about colleagues all the time, and the public, is that, we're a political action team. That means that we act all the time in all situations we find ourselves in. So if we're the government, then we have more opportunity to bring forward our ideas and solutions and our vision for Bermuda. But that doesn't mean it stops just because we didn't win that. So are we prepared for an election? The answer is yes, always, because otherwise I don't get why we're showing up for work.
Okay. Well, when saying that, then can you confirm that you actually have seats for all 36 constituencies filled on your party?
We do. Yep. And it was raised that someone said, "Well, post them all," or something like that. And our rollout is being governed by a very small group within the party, dealing with timings and pairings and things like that. And I think they're doing a fantastic job. I don't ever anticipate changing a strategy based on one sort of social media comment. Because the thing is that the One Bermuda Alliance is a big tent party. So we have lots of people who are coming from different angles, and we like to listen and sit down and deliberate and focus. So a hectic pace just isn't what you're gonna see out of the OBA anymore. It's just not gonna be sort of busyness for busyness sake.
Well, following up on that, then how do you guys select your candidates?
It's quite a process. So the candidate selection committee, first of all, you volunteer, right? And I have to be, one of my colleagues has a phrase, "the loneliest walk in the world," because the stairs on the side of the building, I take his point, when you walk up those stairs, you are walking up those stairs. It's a very, you feel it, you are, at the top of those stairs is a door, and beyond that door is a change. And you're not always sure what exactly that entails. So it can be quite a quiet walk as you ascend those stairs. The difference, I think, what changes people's minds is that once you do that, you walk into a room where you're welcomed, listened to, and you're part of a team that's actually set on outcomes. So you don't, it may feel a bit awkward, but the second you pass through that door, you're in and amongst the family. So the first part is volunteer, right? You have to personally volunteer, and that's why I cannot emphasize enough. That's the hard part. The next part is the candidate selection process, and that typically involves a number of interviews, and that also involves meetings after we've done interviewing. So obviously, there's an application. You set out all this information, including why you want to do it, and we speak to that during the interview process. Then we go into committee, and the committee uses committee members deliberate about things like commitment to party vision. We deliberate about how much time this person may or may not have. We deliberate about their past. Some people join and they join as mature adults, so they're 50, 55. So we're going, well, what did they do? Did they do anything that would be problematic to bring forward our vision of Bermuda? And it's that kind of process. And then we go back. There's typically a second meeting that deals with, okay, well, what do you think about constituencies, etc. At this point, it's more of a feedback. We're trying to really feel someone out because first you only met them. And typically in this process, there's a couple more, hey, why don't you go speak to the leader of the party? Why don't you go out to lunch with so-and-so? Why don't you, hey, we're doing something on this day, come by. And it's just this sort of, because we're meeting each other. So we're trying to get familiar with each other. And then the formal process sort of takes over. And then there's a final decision as it relates to whether they are approved as candidates, whether they are adopted, which means that they're actually placed into a constituency. So it's a bit long, but we kind of have to do it that way.
Yeah. Is there somewhere on an OBA website or anywhere public where the public can actually see what the criteria is?
No, that's because that's really up to the interviewer and the assessor within the committee, because we have a number of people who are participating in it. And so when I'm speaking to for example, I speak to myself about the criteria by which I'm making a decision. That person, I share that with 2, 3, 4 other people, but someone else may have a different line of thought on that process. So it wouldn't be uniformed like something that you could print off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question for you. The PLP kind of has dubbed the light bulb initiative as a chance for the public to save money, save big in their press release for it. What is the OBA stance on this initiative?
I mean, they're light bulbs. I don't really know how much you can be particularly detailed about that. It's not handing out light bulbs when it's handing out light bulbs. I don't even know how to parse that. If you're going to take money, especially money in the millions of dollars, there's things you can do with it, right? It comes down to priorities and intent and outcome. I mean, yeah, handing out light bulbs sounds. I'm not even sure if it even sounds like a good idea, but honestly, I'd have to sit back and really think about how to justify handing out light bulbs in the state that the country's in as a good idea.
I'm sorry to laugh.
Mm-hmm. Can you maybe?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes, it goes down this road of can you prove a negative, and it's like, look, sometimes. One thing I'm really enjoying right now about our political discourse in Bermuda is there's so many people involved now, and there's so many people talking, right? I think that the opinion that the opposition is the only political voice other than the government is incredibly short-sighted and disenfranchises far too many participants in parliamentary democracy. So I'm so happy that when I see people who are interrogating these ideas of their own free will and accord and disseminating their thoughts, because what that does mean is that there's enough people. The opposition of a country cannot be the only other political voice of that country.
Yeah. I'm curious, what would the One Bermuda Alliance maybe prioritize over that initiative?
And it's a great question. One of the things that I'm a little cautious about is specifications, and the reason is, when the One Bermuda Alliance got into government last time, they got in with a whole set of ideas, right? And the electorate said, okay, go carry out those ideas. And they go into government, and they immediately discover they don't have enough money to pay payroll for civil servants. And you just sit there and go, wow, talk about throwing a spanner in your plan. And I always get the impression there are more minds like that scattered about. If you notice by a number of government initiatives, they just seem to come out of left field. They don't seem to be connected to anything. And then ideas that are in process sort of just abruptly stop and then shoot off in a different direction. So I always think, and maybe it's just the compliance professional in me, it's not just the things you see, it's the things you don't see. And I suspect there's quite a few things that we're not seeing that will determine constructive next steps. But yes, the light bulb initiative, it's their idea. I don't think it's the best use of money. I don't think it's going to save people that much money. It's a light bulb. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Now, I know you mentioned that obviously the voice of politics doesn't just fall on the opposition, like it is, like more people are coming into it, and there's not the only opposition, but many people in the community are pleading for a stronger opposition. So how are you planning to answer that plea?
Yeah, so we get stopped quite a lot, and I do as well, on the street and say, hey, where's your voice? And what I do now is I keep a list of all the times that we've spoken on a topic and what we've spoken about and our position and things like that. And typically when I say, yep, I hear you. So here's what we did. And then the person goes, oh, I didn't know that. Now, that's a great example of our message not getting out. So I bring that up because one of the features of our system is that there are, in fact, 29 government speakers, right? And to our 6. And one of the things about a lot of people don't realize about the House of Assembly, the Senate, there's rules for who can speak when and for how long. Well, when the numbers are that lopsided, I can speak for 20 minutes, a half hour. It really depends on when you can speak. And you're only supposed to speak to a certain topic. Obviously, there's an agenda outlined. But let's say it's a motion to adjourn and Greg Cannonier stands up and says, you guys are messing this up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he sits down. Well, he can only speak for 20 minutes typically about that. By the time we get to motion to adjourn, there's only so much time left to speak. You can speak for 20 minutes. Well, they've got so many guys fresh in the bank who, by the way, weren't participating in the whole day of the House, right? So they come in fresh and they can speak for hours, right? They got so many, they'll just drown. So because they can control the bandwidth, that also means, listen, government has access to a Department of Communications. We've seen a number of times where their pamphlets are released that are let's say, hewing the line of political promotion versus government information. They also have a party unto themselves with its own very well-attuned machine arm and a great deal of supporters. So the simple fact is that they have dominated the airwaves, and we are, in effect, the plucky rebellion pushing back against the empire. So sorry for the Star Wars analogy. I love Star Wars. And so we push back, and we push back harder and harder. And we're getting better at it because one of the great parts is we're seeing the feedback, right? We're seeing someone go, oh, I heard you say that, or the topic gets picked up. One of the great quotes on social media was from Sophia Tessitaro, where she said, the only reason we're having this debate in the public forum is because the OBA asked the questions in the House. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know this topic existed. And I always think, well done. That's exactly right. Because a lot of times we raise questions, and that question takes a life of its own. And then all of a sudden, this huge public conversation takes place based on really one quiet but deliberate question asked in 16 hours of talking and debating.
But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I used to listen to the House of Assembly religiously. At this point in my life, I choose peace, so I don't listen to it anymore. Much of the stuff that I know that goes on in there is what I read, and occasionally someone may send a few clips of something of interest to me. But that said, I don't think the battle is actually won in the House. I know you said that they take up most of the time and so on. We're living in a digital age. A digital age where you actually have more control of the narrative than you think. So why is the OBA not taking a stand to say, you just made the point that Sophia actually, address something in social media. You have the power to control the narrative you want to get out more than any other time in history. So I don't think relying on, let's be honest, most young people that you're trying to get do not tune into the house. So with that said, what is the OBA's strategy or plan to kind of say, you know what? Yeah, they control this. Yeah, they control the pamphlets. They're doing the political thing in the government space, but you have a way of controlling it in the digital space. What's the plan to do that?
Yeah, so we have a communication strategy, but that had to be based on something, right? So this was an iterative process of building over time from the 2020 election, and even going into that, we didn't have social media. Just wasn't. We had efforts in it, but undoubtedly there was things that could have been done better. So to that end, I think what you're seeing now, this more deliberate pace of information getting out, information circulating, is the result of us getting better and better and better at it. And FYI, there's no cap on how good we can be at this. There's only improvement. So we're getting better and better and better at it. But undoubtedly, this is an iterative process. In other words, we have to try, learn, try again, learn. It's not. I wish I could hit a button and simply make it work. It actually takes quite a lot of effort to figure this out, and I think we're seeing the green shoots of success.
I think this is my personal. Maybe you guys feel differently, Maya and yourself, listeners, but I think the last election was won on social media, not in the House of Assembly. If you remember, David Barrett, Premier of Bermuda, was probably the most active Twitter Bermudian at that time, especially in 2020. I believe at this point, elections are not won or lost in the House. They're not even won or lost in the news. They're won and lost on the narrative that you put out as individuals and a party, and how you do it. They were going hard. They legit. It's almost a battle of not what's true or not, but what did Rupert Murdoch say? Not Rupert Murdoch. Roger Ailes said, it's not the truth.
Repeat it
over and over and get people to believe, right? I think the OBA, honestly,
and I just want to stop because that's a good point. But that ties also into funding as well. And this is a really great point, because our understanding is that certain politicians have contracted with just have social media people, and that's their entire, that they have a person whose entire point of existence within the political framework is to create content for a politician. I mean, that's part of the new world, right? So yeah, definitely. I can say congratulations, Premier. You went and hired someone, and they put a lot of information out. Well done. And now then of course you go, okay, well, and immediately you start having conversations about money, right, and about donations. And the second you start talking about donations, then a very, very different conversation starts arising, right? From who, for what purpose, right? And yeah, so it's not a disconnected question, and I couldn't agree more that we have to get better at it, and we will. It's funny when you put not funny, I'm sorry to say that, but they say that when you put a frog in a pot and you turn the heat up slowly, it won't notice, because it's so minute, the changes. And I think that's something that we're seeing right now, is a lot of the changes that we're bringing are quite small. I think the impacts are large, and those are starting to be seen. They were quite small in our earlier days, and just now we're starting to see something. But we're definitely, admitted we can get better at it.
Real quickly, we will get to the audience. So, folks, we're not ignoring your questions and comments. We'll get to you in a few. So just give us a second. Go ahead, Maya. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to move on to my next question, but I do just want to say something about social media is not the end all be all though, but it's also not as hard as, well, I feel you're kind of claiming that it is, that you need someone to hire and blah, blah, blah. Like the younger generation, man, we know what we're doing. And again, easily talking to your daughter, I think would just push it so hard. Like it'll give you a better understanding. Like I gave advice to Curtis Dickinson, Curtis Dickinson, when I was on a walk with him, I was like, you don't have to do all this fancy stuff. You don't need the best camera. You don't need anything like that. You can literally open your page, do your agenda for the day, snap a pic, show us. It's educational, it's engaging, it's telling us what you're doing without having to put on some sort of flashy show of some sort of picture of you doing something amazing and then some boring caption we don't care about. Like, be real with us. Show us your agenda for the day. Like, let us know that you're actually working, that you're out there doing something. You don't even need to say much. But you also have the opportunity, like Jamal said, to show your own perspective. Get on your camera. You should just say, this is what I'm doing today. This is what happened in the House of Assembly. These are the key points that we follow. This is what we're talking about. Bam, out there on social media. Simple. It doesn't have to be as flashy or as structured as people are like, oh, that's not the right angle. It doesn't have to be all of that. Yeah. You just got to be real with us.
And I just want to share from the comments. We do have a lot of people just saying in the comments that, this is from Melvin Wade. He says, it's not that heavy of a lift to get this right, Jarian.
Thanks. Hey, listen, guys, I think this is one of the keys is that, like, I don't have all the answers. Bermuda has all the answers, right? And so one of my colleagues teases me, says, you say this phrase a lot. I say, I stand to be guided. Like, tell me. I mean, hey, if tell me. Trust me, I don't stand on a hill like I am right. I have all the answers. That is not what this deal is about.
That's encouraging. I'm just saying. I'm not taking nuts, but that's encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, that point that it just made. I mean, okay, cool, awesome. Like I know I can pick up my phones right here, and I could like do a picture like this, and I'm like, I'm on the Daily Hour, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. Okay, I'll do that. Thanks.
See Maya teaching her skills like that. Look at her. Yeah.
All right, this next one's a little bit long, so stick with me for this question. But in an interview with Burn News in 2022, you said the following on a question about legalizing same-sex marriage. I'm going to bring the quote up right here. And the quote says, this is an important issue that people, especially young Bermudians, feel very strongly about. The OBA represents people of different races, economic statuses, social and family structures, and with different beliefs. We have members on both sides of same-sex marriage issues. We will continue to canvass the view of our party members and continue to represent all Bermudians. If we were to legislate same-sex marriage, we need those interested to join the party, debate their colleagues, and pass the motion. And recently, now, in your sworn-in day, you said this quote here, bring it up as well. Most recent sworn-in message to the public, you said, quote, our team is decisive and dedicated, and we will never give up on the fundamental beliefs that an inclusive Bermuda managed with integrity and prudence can provide ample economic opportunities, accessibility, healthcare, world-class education, and a safe, strong community in a healthy, sustainable environment. So my question to you is, can you provide a decisive and dedicated answer to the following? Will the One Bermuda Alliance be moving forward with legislation for same-sex marriage?
When we go to caucus, I mean, I'm sorry, but it goes back to that 2022 statement. There are people in our caucus who have different opinions, and the motions that are made, they get debated, and the side that wins, that's the policy going forward. The previous opposition leader made it quite clear that the mood in the room has changed and that we're traveling in a new direction. We still have to make that concrete before we can say out loud, look, this is exactly how we anticipate doing every one of these steps. And the worst part of the problem for me is that there's a number of issues in Bermuda. Let's say there's 50, right? But there are single issue voters, single issue matters, and there are some that are quite divisive. In terms of there's people who have very strong opinions on all sides, right? And one of the things that I'm trying to not do is I'm trying to make sure that enough people are showing up, rowing in the same direction to accomplish all of the things that we agree on, like the basics. When you get into same-sex marriage, some of the people start sort of splitting like this, right? And so that's why if the issue is going to be if someone's gonna have a strong feeling and it's a divisive issue, then we literally go to caucus. We literally debate it. We literally have that issue sorted out. But we also listen on the doorstep, right? During canvassing every weekend now. And yeah, I am representative of not one view, but of a number of views. And the good part is that the people who want to same-sex marriage are now making their voices heard in caucus. And when that issue is finally put to bed, then I don't have to basically refer the matter to a wider body to debate.
I think that's probably one of my concerns about party politics. I remember fighting to end conscription, and it was like, I don't think things that we consider human rights issues, there's for me, and again, this may be my immaturity, I don't think it's a matter of debate. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the leader, I mean, you think of Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator. I think the leader at that time, whether it's a David Byrd or Michael Dunkley or Jarian Richardson, co-signers, the leader has to say, you know what? Well, I mean, and let's be honest, Dr. Ewart Brown, he did it with the Uyghurs. He didn't tell any of his cabinet. No, is that the way to go? Look, I'm very honest on this show. While I appreciate what democracy is supposed to do, at the end of the day, we cannot rely on democracy for everything, because sometimes people don't know what's in their best interest. And sometimes the majority will not do what's in the best interest of truly the economy and its people. So I'm just a bit concerned whenever a question like about what people consider human rights is asked. It's just, I remember Karen Magnum, she was in the OBA, and she said, well, I think conscription should come down to a referendum. You should not be putting on a ballot people's human rights. I'm sorry. You should not be putting things on a ballot for people that
agree more.
There's no reason a woman should be voting on whether or not I should be conscripted and whatever. There's no reason people should be voting on things that don't directly impact them. So while I appreciate your response, and that's the way the Westminster system's set up, I simply just, it's bothersome to me. And again, that's not personal to you. I just think the overall is bothersome. And Maya's got such a stoic face right now.
Yeah.
I
just want to follow up that it's bothersome to me as well. It's bothersome to me as well. But I will not dismiss the views of a portion of Bermuda until such time as they've had their voice heard.
And that's understandable. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, I'm going to move on one of my last questions before we get to the audience and Jamal, but education, it's a big thing going on right now in Bermuda, and how, you know, the government right now is going about it. The community has not been very favorable to what the government is doing. They feel very excluded in all the decisions that are being made. So what would you say is the OBA's standpoint on that? Like, if you were entrusted as being in government, who would you trust with performing what we need for the changes in education? Who's the OBA entrusting in that for their own party?
Yeah, so we made the point earlier, and we raised it much earlier. We're very thankful the government has adopted our position of an independent education authority. Education is just simply too important to trust to politicians, so to speak. We can have oversight of it. We can contribute to it, but it's just so vital to and again, it's a connected issue, right? It connects to every other piece of Bermuda. So for it to be a political talking point is sort of prima facie, or the first, it's evidence that it's not going to get the attention it needs.
Audience, send your questions. We're going to get to you right now. So if you have any questions or comments, but look, Bermuda is I say all the time, I think we currently have the worst administration we've ever had in my lifetime, right? I think we're in a really bad space. This is not fear mongering as someone in the media. This is just the reality that we're living. People are struggling. People are leaving in droves, right? Yeah. Our population looks very different. It's tough. We have pretty much a lack of hotels, lack of tourism, lack of development happening on the island. What concerns you most as leader of the opposition about the current state of Bermuda?
that it's all happening at the same time. A major issue. Look, there's always going to be an issue because there's always a problem. So whether it's healthcare, unaffordable healthcare, as well as a trajectory, meaning that it will become quite literally unaffordable to people, or education not accomplishing what it sets out to do, which is preparing people for life. Whether it's transport or infrastructure being too poor to maintain or to support the economy, like it's any one of those things we would be dealing with on any given day in Bermuda. The problem is that we're dealing with them all at the same time. That's where the OBA goes, wow, this is bad, because one of these is hard. You're trying to fix all of them. Well, not trying to fix, we're in all of them. I mean, that's and to fix the problem, you have to pick up one link of that chain and start there. I mean, a great example of the views of my members and the views of the One Bermuda Alliance is the economic recovery plan, which had 31 ideas or 31 projects in it, and one of them was like medical tourism and vertical farming and fish processing and I don't know, space something, and you're sitting there like, what are you talking about? Like the roads are unsafe and falling apart. So that's, I think the problem is that all of it's breaking at the same time. We now have to fix all of it. And there seems to be a lack of focus or prioritization on what to fix first.
All right. We've got a question from Sean DeShields. He's asking, what is your party's strategy to rejuvenate Bermuda's tourism industry?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I have to confess, I'm not a tourism expert by any stretch of the imagination. I worked for a very short time at Elbow Beach, and I really learned a lot, and I can appreciate it. But there are experts, much better experts than me at it in the party, so I'm always happy to have them. We have a tourism board that looks at these issues. So it comes down to questions of structure, and it comes down to questions of putting money in the right places. So, for example, when we, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, which I think you worked at, Jamal. Yeah, I remember you saying that. It's putting money in the right places and putting people in the right places. So a great example is making sure that tourism professionals are in charge of the tourism industry, because they know things, how to do things that really, again, would be just surprising to a politician. I mean, I looked at you see these videos going around about the tourists lining up in all these places, Dockyard, I want to say Horseshoe Beach, and the airport. And then obviously talking to the community, friends and family, telling us how hard it is to get transport for these tourists. And you sit there going, now, I go, wow, I had no idea, A, it was that bad, or B, how crucial it is. But a tourism professional doesn't need me. They know that off the top of their head. They know full well how taxis, like, for example, how the concierge desk at a hotel and someone at the airport, they're just constantly talking with the taxis and the minibuses, and they know how to move people around. So I'm not sure why they're not in charge. Like, let's get them to do stuff. So that's where we're going, is put the right people in the right places.
All right. Another question from Sean DeShields. He's asking, how exactly do you plan to, as mentioned, to enforce integrity in politics?
So when it comes to principles, there is no principles are the highest level of the conversation that drive down into the specifics, right? So you can't, it's no matter what we're talking about, here's the principles that govern the whole conversation. And when the conversation moves out of bounds of that, then then we know that we've breached our integrity. So just think of it as a big old box, and anything that's taking place in the box. There's plenty of things that can take place in the box, but there's certain things that can't take place. So a great example would be having a conversation about candidate select, right? Making sure that conversations are held in the right groups, in the right committees, and they're talking about the right topics, and they're not talking about other things. They're not wandering around. It's not a free-for-all. It's keeping things within bounds based on the objective of that group. So integrity is like that. Now, the second part I would say is the part I put in the speech. On the appointment of opposition leader at Government House, which is accountability. We absolutely have to be accountable, sort of full stop, right? Not just accountable to one group, faction, ideology, people. Like it's a total accountability. That means that that sometimes very unpleasant things have to happen, very unpleasant conversations. Sometimes people have to go. Sometimes new people have to come. But that's the way I would say you specify enforcing integrity is through accountability. First of all, making sure that we're conducting ourselves in the bounds of normality, adherence to the Constitution, et cetera, like that. And then making sure that everyone's accountable for such things.
All right. Many of the questions I see were asked earlier, and this is a live show, so people tune in different times. You already answered this. Renee Simmons asking when will the OBA roll out their candidates for constituents, or do they not have a copy? You spoke on that. So Tal asked about OBA addressing its history and the UBP. We discussed that. So guys, you probably tuned in after all that. So I'm just going to get straight to my last question. With all that said, with the, again, historical aspect of what people connect the One Bermuda Alliance to, with the challenges that Bermuda currently faces, with the monster that you're up against in terms of, the PLP, it's a machine that you're up against, right? Why is the OBA a better option for Bermuda in 2023?
Because we believe in the fundamental principle of One Bermuda. We do. I was with the regiment on a trip in Jamaica, and I would love to talk to you about the regiment because I fully agree with what you did with conscription, but I do think there's a place for it, and there's a way to do it. But I was on this course, and we're in the middle of some jungle field. Couldn't tell you where it was, on some grid coordinate. There's no labels on this. And this JDF, Jamaican Defense Force helicopter lands. The pilot gets out, lady pilot, and with another person, and they just started talking about us about Jamaica. And one of the things they spoke about was how they started with the principle of there being one Jamaica, a rainbow nation of many people, but there's one Jamaica. And I take that principle from someone else, Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who are my personal heroes. Because South Africa, people talk about South Africa today like it's lucky. There's points to improve upon, no doubt. But it could have been way worse. It could have been horrifying. But through loyalty to a higher calling, to a higher objective, they were able to shepherd a bad situation into a much better situation. That's what, you mentioned Abraham Lincoln. I mean, another great example of having a vision and committing to a vision, a higher vision, just shoot for as high as you can go in terms of principles and integrity and conduct and listening to people and making sure many people, take care of the vulnerable first. Just stay there, because the further we come back from that vision, the more visceral it gets, the more negativity gets in there, the more cynicism, the more skepticism. All of these things have a place in politics, but not at the front. At the front, it's aspiration, it's clarity, it's let's get this done. And so one of the things that we're so adamant about is, look, yeah, there's a lot of differences in Bermuda, fair enough, but there's a lot of similarities too. Cut Match is a great example of that, and I can assure you that the road traffic accidents, I'm sorry to hear about another one. I've been to more than a few road traffic accidents, and it's not, you think hearing about it's bad. Wait till you go and you're in charge, and you have to start figuring out what happened, and it's not pretty. People get hurt bad, and you have to. What's more important? Like the roads are like the road traffic accidents. That's important. And when vehicles collide, they don't care about differences. So that's why I go One Bermuda. We are One Bermuda. We have differences, and we're gonna have to figure those out. And we're gonna have to work through them. But we need to stay One Bermuda if we're ever gonna fix this stuff.
Final thing before you go, and in the most concise manner. What would you say to the Bermudian people today to get them out to support the One Bermuda Alliance?
We probably say so much to get them out to support, sort of picking from any one of them. Come out and tell us. Come out and tell us what it is that's on your mind. Come out and tell us, because we believe in Bermuda. We believe in Bermudians. So we are out here for purpose, right? To make our country better. Like, we know we're already on a mission. In order to convince people to join us on that mission, we would say, join us. Come on out. Tell us. Call us up. I mean, you only have so many MPs, but there's any point of contact you have with the One Bermuda Alliance, call that person and tell them what's on your mind, what you're upset about, or what you want to see fixed. Because a large part of what we are is not arrogant. We are not going to be dismissive of people. We want to hear from people, and we want people to join our mission to make Bermuda a better place. So, and again, I take the point, it's a lonely walk up those stairs, but once you get through the door, you're in family.
Indeed. Jarian Richardson, Opposition Leader, thank you so much for the conversation today. I would encourage you and your colleagues not to be strangers of the show. I did say last week that my pick would have been Susan Jackson, and I explained I didn't know much of you. I thought she had more years at this, and I think that a black woman as leader is very scary to a lot of people. I'm just saying. But that was not to disrespect you in any way. It was really just, I felt like she would. I would say that I'm willing to see where this goes with you. But I really am. I think I'm looking forward to hearing more of what you believe you can do to improve Bermuda overall. And as I stated, you and your colleagues, please don't be strangers to our space.
Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
Take care, everybody.
All right, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure that you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. A lot of information discussed, a lot of time. I'm so glad we had an extended conversation. We usually do. I mean, we've done it, Sir John and a few others recently. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, come back, wrap it up, and also have some fun with the Daily Play. If somebody gets the Daily Play before Maya, and I'm going to shame Maya if she doesn't get this. I'm going to shame her because I gave her a hint before the show. Don't go anywhere.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to the Opposition Leader, Jarian Richardson. Really appreciate him being open to come on this show. Not a lot of people are, Maya's a scary person, all right? So thank you for coming on. And folks, again, if you appreciated the information, the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Maya, are you ready?
Okay.
All right. What is the round button on an iPhone called? I thought it would come across as a trick question and you would solve. Didn't I say I'd shame you if you didn't get it, right? What? I thought
things you should know.
I thought I had you on a trick. I thought I had you. know
Not
what?
even everyone has. There's not even a round button on my thing anymore. Like that's so old.
It's like it's on the screen now, right? Isn't it the screen? It's not a physical button. No?
There's no button. No more buttons.
Oh, okay.
Blank
Oh,
screen.
okay. Whatever. Folks, I'm gonna, because Maya didn't give you a chance to win. Let's do a giveaway while Maya and I wrap up this show. We're gonna do a giveaway so that you all can, because you know she's good at this game, right? She don't give you all a chance. So
I know. I'm sorry.
yeah, and she's very competitive, as you can see, right? That's why I'm willing to do like a gender game basketball or something, but something tells me I'll get injured trying to post her up. She'd be like slapping the ball out of my hand. But anyway,
You think that you would beat me in basketball?
you want something?
Jamal,
You want
you're
something?
talking to an MVP right now.
You want something?
I don't think you can handle it, bro.
All right, folks.
Don't even slow me, because we would do this.
Maya and I one-on-one. Hashtag the Daily Hour for your chance to win. We're gonna give away a travel mug today. So hashtag Daily Hour. So Maya, we're gonna play basketball. We just need to set the date. We'll set the date when we're in the same place, and we'll record it.
I mean, I'm already playing. You're probably just going to be watching, but
wow, folks, you hear it, right? You hear it. What we're playing? 21.
What, best of 21?
Yeah, first to 21.
If you could keep up that long, sure.
Wow. Hey, this is gonna be good when I beat her. This is gonna be good. Let's wrap this show up. Final thoughts on today's conversation with the opposition leader.
My final thoughts on today's conversation. Very happy that he came on board. Glad that people got to ask their questions publicly, live. I know it's in a different space. And, we don't have that much politicians normally doing live questions from the audience as well, or from us. So it's great to have that on board when we do. I would definitely say more concisiveness, though. Conciseness and directness with answers would be greatly appreciated, I know, to our audience as well. But I'm very pleased that he was here with us today and be able to shed some insight even to his party. And, the criteria was actually good to hear, because I didn't know the process was so long and rigorous. Again, they're meeting these people for the first time too. So that was good to hear.
Yeah, I think what I appreciate, and you said something that really, really I didn't even consider. Not once did Jarian Richardson or the OBA ask for questions. I'm going to be clear. They asked for questions. I'm not going to call their names, but they asked for questions. Look, if you're telling the truth, you don't need to know what's going to be asked. All you got to do is speak the truth, speak from the heart. So I appreciate that. It's not easy coming into a live space and answering questions, live questions from either the host or the audience. So I do appreciate that. Yeah. He's been in this position for about a week, and I'm intrigued. I really want to see where he takes the party and Bermuda. I think everyone will admit we are starving for a stronger opposition to what many consider the worst administration we've had. Because of that, we need a strong opposition. So my hope, I'm not a voter, they removed me. My hope is that they evolve to a space where they are able to communicate effectively where the people are.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. So let's do the giveaway. Let's pull it up, see who's going to be the lucky winner. Maya thinks she's going to whoop me in basketball, folks. My goodness.
Bro, you don't know.
This is it. Oh, it's going to be a fight. Let's do this giveaway, because shit, man, let's see who's going to get it. Oh, sorry. Ebony says, so congratulations. You are today's winner. You know what to do. Send us an email. You've won twice this week. So you're going to get yourself a travel mug, Ebony. Yeah, she's a big winner. So thank you so much for that. Maya, I don't know, man. Like, got a court right here too. My basketball is flat, so I'm going to get a new ball. But Maya, I go to the court on my spare time,
You need to practice?
No, I just go, to
keep
fresh, keep my shot fresh. You got some daily inspiration today?
Yes, I do. Before we close this, got some daily inspiration. Got some daily inspiration coming from our great people down at ER Fisheries. This inspiration is from Winston Churchill. It's success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
Yeah.
So think about that when I beat you at basketball.
Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. Oh, I could dunk, you know.
Stop lying to yourself.
Okay, I lied. Gee, let me have something. Look, I don't like it. Folks. This is how we'll end the show going into a weekend. But folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thank you to the BAC group of companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. She's Maya Palacio. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great weekend. I'm hitting the court because
you need to practice.
Whatever. No, I've got to get fit. I'm ready. See you soon, everybody.